This is Solsei.
Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Miss Metchi, and we're back for another episode of Corporate Chronicles. I'm your host, and thank you so much for joining me again. Special shout out to our friends at Solsei Co, who helps us produce this podcast. And we also have to say thank you so much to our sponsors, the Law Office of C.N. Norris and Tax Strategy. Now, you all know this podcast is dedicated to people of color, so I can help you all survive and thrive in the workplace. Tonight's topic. How do you deal with vacation shaming? Now, this is a new term that many people may not be too familiar with. So first, I'm going to go ahead and define what vacation shaming is, and then I'll share with you my story because we got to get into what happened to me. Vacation shaming is a term used to describe work environments where coworkers and bosses use peer pressure and guilt trips to discourage employees from taking time off. Now look, I know no matter where you've been, whether you worked at McDonald's all the way up to a Fortune 500 company, you've dealt with this at some point. You want to take some time off and your job is like, no, we need you. So let me go into a time that really sticks out in my mind as far as vacation shaming. I was getting married in April 20th, 2018. So very, very recently. And when I came into the company, I let them know, I'm going to need the last 2 weeks of April off in 2018 to be there for my wedding and get everything together. And then I'm also going to need that time off so that I can go on my honeymoon, okay? And just take a couple days to breathe because wedding planning, that's a whole nother topic. Let's stay on topic here, okay? So I let them know that I had my approved time off from the email exchanges. I worked that into my contract before I actually took the job. I'm like, look, don't hire me if you can't give me this time off. Period. So, as it gets closer to the time, they literally started to email and call, and they're just like, we don't think you're going to be able to do this. Do you have regional approval and all of these things? Now, mind you, I already said that I was stressed out because, I'm planning a wedding. I've got all these things going on, and I'm in a very demanding job anyway. So the last thing that I want is pressure or stress coming from, you all don't want to find coverage. No one's going to cover me. What am I supposed to do at this point? If it was not for another manager that stepped in, she was a manager that was above me, and she said, look, girl, I've got your back. We're going to make sure that you're covered. Don't let these people stress you out. And it was that moment that really stuck out to me because it's like, for one, a lot of people don't really take off because they don't have anyone to have their back. So I'm not going to say her name, but shout out to her. She still remains in my mind and my heart because she literally took away that discouragement that I was feeling of not taking my time off. Okay. The real reaction. I was pissed off, y'all. It was bad. I'm like, you all gave this time to me. You approved it. And now you are basically going back on your word of what you said before you initially hired me and making it increasingly difficult for me to take this time off without the stress of wondering what's supposed to happen while I'm out. Who's going to take care of things? Who's going to jump in? There were a series of things that was going on with my situation. I had people that agreed to cover me that then pulled out at the last moment. So it really it created a stressful situation. And anyone else would have said, I guess I just won't take the time off. But, I wasn't really in a place to do that. There was money that was being spent. There was time that was needed. I physically needed to be there because I was the bride. Okay. They definitely tried to shame me. So, I was just like, they're like, you're taking off so much time. Why are you doing this? And I'm just like, okay, they had me baffled, you all, because I'm like, okay, how do we not understand what it is that I'm needing at this point? It brought me to thinking, why do companies make it so hard for their employees to actually take time off? You know, you got your coworkers, they're just like, oh, you're taking off 2 weeks. How did you get that time? And I'm just like, I negotiated it. That's what you're supposed to do. The question that stands out is, why is it so difficult? Or why, when someone has this time that they've accrued or that they've requested or negotiated into their contract, however it came about, why, when it's time to actually let them utilize it, does it become a problem? Given all of this, I definitely just want to give you some signs of what you can look out for to know that you are in the process of being vacation shamed, okay? So the biggest thing was my coworkers, they seemed to have been a little bit taken aback, like, okay, you've got this time, you got all this time, why do you have this? You know, people are going to question when you want to go on vacation and do things. People are nosy. That's first off. And it's really a problem because it's just like, why is it that within the corporate America culture, do we not take the time that we need to rest, rejuvenate, and really, really take time for ourselves? If you start a job and they say you get 2 weeks of vacation, you better take all 2 weeks of that. That's first. But we're not into the tips yet, okay? Your job, depending on what you do, they really may make it difficult, between putting certain rules and policies in place to kind of create some obstacles along the way. If you're finding that you're reading the email and it's becoming more and more difficult for you to request that time off and do what you need to do, yeah, you might be getting vacation shamed, okay? What I want to do now is provide you with some tips that I think will be very, very helpful so that you can avoid that when you're in the workplace. Make sure that depending on what it is that you do, that you choose your time wisely, okay? So if you are a tax preparer, you might not want to plan to be out of the office for 2 weeks during the peak of tax season, okay? Just to give you a little bit of an example. You know the trends for your business, so you definitely, if you are working in corporate America, you want to make sure that you're choosing a time that's going to be a good fit for you, of course, because you're number one as far as this is concerned, but also that's going to be conducive for your team because no one likes a person that's selfish. So try to look at all of the factors and choose your time wisely. Communicate in advance. Okay. Now we know a lot of times you see deals on Groupon and all of these amazing things, but you want to make sure that you do give your team enough time, give your management enough time and let them know, hey, I'm thinking about taking this trip. I like to do this. I'm going to go ahead and submit my days. Okay. Make sure that you are following the policy. So if they say that you have to give them 5 days in advance, follow those rules because it makes it a little bit easier for you in the long run to make sure that you can do whatever it is that you need to do without worrying about going against what your company says. Protect your calendar, okay? Make sure that once you've gotten the approvals that's needed, because they might try to take that approval away, but nothing can stop once they've actually put it in black and white and said that you were approved for that time. Make sure that you are blocking that out on your calendar, not getting scheduled for phone calls or, meetings that you need to be in. Make sure that people know you are on your time off, okay? Arrange for a strong backup or delegate, okay? If you are someone that everyone turns to, much like myself, you want to have someone that is equally as responsible and knowledgeable in the role that can assist you with kind of that flow that's going to come in during your absence. You want to make sure that you have that person in place and that they are fully aware of any situations that you're working on that may not have been able to be closed before you actually left the office. Now, it doesn't matter if you're doing a staycation at your house or if you're going somewhere to another country, you want to be off and unplug completely, okay? Unplugging is definitely a tip. You're not supposed to be out of the country and still checking your emails. That's not what paid time off is about. You want to make it where you're doing everything on your part to ensure that you can take that time uninterrupted. Okay? Make sure that you're working ahead. Like if you know that you need to, I call it clearing my desk. If you know that you need to clear out certain issues or people need your assistance to meet a certain deadline before you're out of the office, make sure that you're doing your due diligence to make that happen, because ultimately it makes it easier on you once you actually return. You know, who wants to go on vacation or a staycation or what have you, and then come back to being overwhelmed? That totally defeats the point of actually taking a vacation in the first place. Please don't feel bad about taking time off. A lot of people with high stressful jobs or things where they are that go-to person, they often feel guilty about having to take some time off, whether it's, you know, even if it's not just for vacation. I notice instances like bereavement or different things of that sort. They feel bad about taking that time. Don't. Most of the times that you sign up for a company, they give you some time that's allotted. Or if you work off an accrued type of system, you have accrued this time off. So when it's time to take it, don't feel guilty about it. Put you first, because your work will be waiting there for you once you return. You know, don't miss out on important moments. Your friend's wedding, a family reunion, you know, a girl's trip, a guy's trip. Don't miss out on those moments because you're putting the company first. Because the unfortunate thing about it is that, and we all know with corporate America, they're going to put the needs of the business first, you second. And it sounds very harsh when you hear it, but it's the truth. So put yourself first. If you got a time, you need to be stern with that, communicate it with your team and let them know, hey, I'm going to be out of the office. And most of all, go and enjoy yourself. Well, y'all, it's that unfortunate time in the show. It has to come to an end. I really hope that you enjoyed the tips that were given today. Nonetheless, don't let anyone vacation shame you in this day and age. Take your time, enjoy yourself, and make sure that you are liking and sharing this video with all of your friends and, you know, listening in. You know, you can catch past episodes. We've got it all for you, okay? Make sure to follow the Blueprint Media Company on Facebook and on Instagram at the BP Media Co. You can also visit www.thebpmediaco.com for more information about the services offered. Until next time.
This is Solsei.